So, what do you do when shit hits the fan? My name is Nicola Moras, and I am excited to grace your ears with my voice on what I hope is a very excellent day that is filled with shit not hitting the fan. So, what do you do? I think the thing that I have found, and perhaps you're similar, when things go haywire and things go not according to plan, it seems to come in clusters. It's like one thing won't work, and then the next thing doesn't work, and then the next thing doesn't work, and then the what that I find results in is a spiral of overwhelm. I tend to get very anxious, and sometimes I end up freezing. So I've had a whole lot of things happen today, actually, as I'm recording this particular podcast episode. And things have been brewing for a little bit around a particular issue that I'm not going to go fully into, but a particular issue that has been, things haven't been kind of working in the way that I had hoped that they would. And this particular issue is around, I guess, people management and expectation management. And what's happened just today is I knew that things were going to come to a head. And it's just been something that has really sent me off on this really weird tangent. So I haven't experienced debilitating anxiety since I left work. So since I finished work. So I finished work, I stopped working a couple of years ago. As you know, I was unwell. I've come back to work and I'm really excited and pumped. One of the things that I am not excited about is around managing other humans. And really, like, I've had this kind of moment today where I'm like, oh my God, I'd forgotten about this anxiety. So my husband and I are on our morning walk this morning, and I was trying to describe to him how I was feeling because I was just feeling a bit off. And it took probably a couple of kilometers for me to work out what was going on. So we were walking through the Adelaide parklands, and one of the things that I really love about our morning walks is that we get to walk around the parklands in the city, and they're just beautiful. And there's always something happening. So, for a little bit of context, you might know of the Adelaide 500, the race car track that happens there every year in November, I think. That's where we walk every day. So there's always different events. There's cycling events, there's running events, they're setting up currently for a horse show jumping. It's a show jumping event. Anyway, it might be a cross country. There's all of these jumps set up amongst the trees in the middle of the ovals. And oh my God, they look really great. One's a train and there's another big bush one. And a girlfriend and I were joking about hobby horsing the other day. And I sent her a video. I'm like, oh, I wonder if they're setting up for a hobby horse event. So I had to talk to Dom about this particular path that I had named Hobby Horse Highway. Funnily, all of the different paths in this park have been getting named by me so that I can describe to Dom and my girlfriends when they're not there, or the kids, this is where I've walked today. I've gone down Fit Freak Freeway, I've gone down Death by Cycle Lane, I've gone down Dinosaur Alley. So I was able to rename this particular path Hobby Horse Highway, which I think is wildly hilarious. But anyway, as we're walking through there and I was chatting about these things, I said, oh, it reminds me of when I had a horse. The thing that I really wanted to do as a child was to jump my horse and compete in different events and things like that. I was never good enough to do that. And my horse was happy to do his own thing and wasn't really interested in doing what I wanted to do. I've got scars on my body because he's like, we're going this way. And I'm like, no, man, we're going this way. And anyway, I digress. So we're walking along Hobby Horse Highway. And I was trying to describe these feelings, not of nostalgia at seeing the horse jumps, but the feelings that I was having in my body that I was trying to identify. So it was this feeling of heaviness in the pit of my stomach. It was almost feeling a little bit sick. I had this funny sort of brain fog in my head and in my face, weirdly, that I haven't felt in such a long time. Since having my plate out and the implants out, actually, I don't feel like I've had a whole lot of brain fog. So it's really interesting to have all of these feelings kind of come flooding in this morning unexpectedly. So as I was explaining this feeling, I was trying to identify what the cause of it was, because I actually woke up with this feeling. And as I started naming how I was feeling, and that I was just really overwhelmed, and I was trying to think about what I was going to do today for work, and the things that I needed to deal with and things that I needed to address and create or not create and edit, and what I was waiting on, and what I'm excited by, what I'm frustrated by. And I realized through talking all of that through what had triggered this feeling of what was really quite intense and almost debilitating anxiety. So that's not very fun, right? So all day I was making sure that I was trying to be kind to myself. I was looking at my 90-day planning document and looking at what was in that document that I could tick off really easily without having to think too much. So naturally, I jumped into my new website and I was uploading some articles in there because, like, I find tech things really easy, and I was able to play around in Canva at the headers and all that kind of thing. I wrote an email to my email database, and it was just like, all right, just tick the boxes. What's the one thing I can do right now to just get something off my plate to feel like I was being productive and being kind to myself? For a little bit more context, I'm flying to Perth on Friday. I'm away for a week, and I've been a bit also anxious about how much work I'm going to get done or not get done while I'm away. And again, like I said before, like, I haven't really felt like that in such a long time. So these feelings have been a little bit foreign again, I suppose. And I don't want to land back where I used to be, where I was in constant hustle mode, constantly chasing the sales activities and the marketing activities, and just, ticking boxes, running through and living in a flurry. I don't want that these days. The money to me is not worth it. So I was like, okay, what's the next best thing you can do right now that's really simple and kind and will help alleviate some of these feelings that I was experiencing. So I did that. Then we had to go and take my car to get that checked and fixed because it's doing a funny shutter thing that's not great. So I when we got back from there, I sat on the couch in the sun, pulled out my journal, and I'm like, right, I'm just going to journal. I'm going to journal my way out of this because I know that works. I know that that helps me feel better 95% of the time. Other times it can just be a big, like, slagging match in my journal where all I'm doing is complaining about how uninspired and how shit I'm feeling. But today, none of that happened. I sat on the couch in the sun and I contemplated my journaling. I picked up my phone and I caught up on some reels. I looked at some messages. I dealt with some things that I needed to deal with. And I was just actually stuck. I was looking at this journal page and I put the date on it. And the last entry was, I've got a lot to catch you up on. Telling my journal, I've got a lot to catch you up on. And I couldn't write anything. So I've opened up my computer and I'm just doing some things and, again, just ticking some boxes, doing some stuff. But then this issue that I had to deal with really came to the forefront. And it was some stuff where a behavior needed to be addressed. And that does not make me feel good in any way, shape or form. And looking at it now, I know that that was what was causing these feelings of anxiety and stress and overwhelm all day long because I'd been putting it off, and things just kept building up and building up and building up and building up. And I'm just kind of like, oh my God, this is out of control. So shit had hit the fan, right? So the point of this episode is, what do you do when shit hits the fan? So I was sitting there feeling incredibly overwhelmed. I was sitting there feeling very stuck, very uncreative, but that was because I had this big issue that was sitting right in front of me that I had been putting off dealing with because I didn't quite know how I was going to handle it and what I was going to do. So for me, the way that I know I work best when shit hits the fan is I always have to come back to, what is the thing that I need to do right now? What's just the one thing that I can do right now to help me take a step forward and to shift this feeling that I've got within my body and in myself? And I know if I do that, then I'm okay. So that can be hard to plan, right? And hard to execute if you're trying to do that in a moment of overwhelm or in a moment of freeze, because we kind of go into this fight, flight, or freeze thing, right? You step straight to survival mode when you confront it with anxiety and overwhelm and shit hitting the fan. And so I know for me that if I have pre-planned, not the anxiety and the overwhelm, but if I've got a pre-planned something that I can use to lean on, then I'm so much better. For me, that is my 90-day planner. And I have literally been using this same method of planning for the last 15 years. So I've got a column for each day of the week. I've got the tasks in there for each day. I don't always do everything that's in there for each day. Sometimes I'll kind of like, I don't feel like doing that today. And so I'll go to the next day's stuff and do something out of there. So today, when I was looking for my quick wins, I just looked at my whole week block of the activities that I had to do. And I was like, okay, yep, it's not going to be actively marketing. I'm not out there prospecting. I'm not out there doing X, Y, Z. But hey, I can go and put an article up on my website. I can go and write an email. I can play around in Canva. Like, I can tick those boxes on my planner that will help move me forward. So when shit hit the fan this afternoon and I had to deal with this thing, then I could go back to my planner and go, okay, look at what I've actually done today. I wasn't completely unproductive. And not that that needs to be a measure of success, and it depends on how you deal with this. But for me, I know that I will sleep much better tonight knowing that I relied on my plan, I ticked some boxes, and I moved the needle forward, even if it's only a little bit. Like, normally I will go and I can be one of the most productive people that I know. I can go and smash stuff out. And I will when I need to. But today I was like, nah, my absolute best today is function. All I can do is function. And my 90-day planner is the thing that made that work for me. So in the show notes, what I'll do is I'll pop a link in there. You can download this free planner. It will change your life if you aren't using it already. You can grab the physical version of this planner from me if you want to buy a fancy bound one. We can just print it off, or you can use it in GoodNotes. It's completely up to how you utilize it. But for me, when shit hits the fan and I land in that space of anxiety and overwhelm, I rely on the things that I know will move me forward. Movement, so walking every day, that is non-negotiable. Having my planner next to me every day is non-negotiable. I know tomorrow when I go to open up my journal and I try and journal, it's going to be a hell of a lot easier than what it was today, because I was able to tick those boxes, deal with cleaning the fan that was shut on, and really step back into, okay, what is it that I need to do today now to have things progressing? So that's my advice for you today. And my question for you today is, what do you do? What strategies have you got in your toolkit for when shit hits the fan? Perhaps you've got other ways of dealing with this, sometimes stepping back, literally leaving and the venue or your office or your home or wherever you work from, just getting a little bit of perspective. For some it's reading, for some it's going and having a sauna, for some it's walking in nature. What do you do? Because I'm sure that we all have those experiences where things just feel like they're getting really big and really compounding and becoming bigger than Ben-Hur to try and tackle. When if we break them down into smaller tasks, we do it before we feel overwhelmed or even after we feel overwhelmed. That can be really helpful too. Some don't have the capacity for that. But if you can do it before the overwhelm kicks in, then that can often be the thing that helps to shift that feeling and that emotion out of your body. So my name is Nicola Moras. I would love to hear your thoughts on this and what you do or how this has been helpful for you. In the show notes, there will be the link for you to download free, my 90-day planner, Plan It Like a Boss. And yeah, I can't wait to hear what you do with this. You can find me in all of the audio platforms. You can find me at nicolamoras.com.au or my keynote speaking site, which is www.nicolaspeaks.com. Talk to you soon.